we are stepping up the level of our services. Our goal is to treat your loved ones with the respect they deserve. We are taking our services to new heights. We are stepping in a new direction. Step into the new millennium with Golden Gate Funeral, where service begins and never ends.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Undertaker, an open, honest look at your funeral service brought to you by Golden Gate Funeral Home and Crematory, with facilities in Fort Worth, Texas, Dallas, Texas, and Tallulah, Louisiana. I'm your host, John Beckwith Jr., and I'm joined today by the King of Pre-Need, Brother Eddie Pace.
Hello there.
We have the Queen of Pre-Need, Sister Deborah Abrams.
Hello, everybody.
We have our sister and our Chief Financial Officer, Miss Carolyn Haynes.
Hello, everyone.
And the Pastor, A. Lewis Eaton of the Church of Living God, Temple 280.
Blessings on you.
All right, today we come from 1 Corinthians, 13th chapter, 12th verse. Pastor Eaton, will you read that for us?
The word of God says, "For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also am I known."
All right, information I need to know, Carolyn, and not just other people. I believe that I need to know this. So how can I help others if I don't know?
Well, first of all, John, you would have to find out. And you're a very good person in doing research and looking at the internet, talking to other professionals so that you can find out information to give our families, because you want our families to know everything there is to know about funeral business in order to help them.
So you as a matriarch of the Beckwith family, and I know that's a big role, and it probably sounds funny to you because your mother has always played that role, but many people watching us right now feel the same way. Now they're in that role in their family, and that's who people go to. Those are the people that have to know because everybody's looking to you for the answers. So what's some of the things that we need to discuss with our families when it comes to being the matriarch or the patriarch of your family?
First of all, we have to tell them information about us and where it's located.
Okay.
So that's the very first thing we do for our families. And then there's some other things out there, and what we're really focusing on now, because we've had so many questions, is about where insurance policies are.
Okay.
A lot of people will come in and say, "Mama told me she had an insurance policy, but I can't find it. I don't have a policy number. I don't have an insurance company name." So we're there to help them find that information.
Where are the important papers located, Queen? Where do we keep them? I mean, I know we have our home and we have a lot of things secure. What's some of the places you keep your important papers?
Well, in the safe deposit box.
Okay, we definitely recommend people who do not have a safe deposit box get a safe deposit
right, because
box.
that's the safest place.
Okay.
Also, some people may have it at home in a file cabinet or in a special drawer somewhere, but you need to let somebody know where they are.
So I'm not searching all over the house looking for them.
Sometimes they're even hidden in the attic, Mr. Becker.
Isn't that something?
Right.
And I don't know about you. I don't like to go up in the attic.
I don't
But why do you think people hide important papers, King of Pre-Need?
Well, the reason they actually hide them is because they think someone might get them.
Okay.
But you need to let someone know where your important papers are. I have like a little briefcase where I keep mine at, and my wife knows where they're at.
Your wife can find that. If something happened to the patriarch of the family, yourself, your wife knows where to go to get those papers.
And a lot of times people hide things and forget where they're at.
Isn't that so? Because that just kind of come with age, Pastor Eaton.
Yes,
I mean, I hit it 20 years ago. I don't know. Or if, sometimes I get sick, I become ill, dementia, whatever the case may be. I just don't know where it is.
Right. That's right.
So before I hide it, should I tell somebody where I'm hiding it?
Yes. Like I give all my important papers to my daughter.
Okay.
I have a set at the house, then she have a set. And the other day we was talking, I said, now make sure you know where everything is, because half the time I really don't know where I put it. So I have to go through stuff and keep rattling, messing up paperwork, and then, but she already has.
She has a copy of it.
She has a copy.
So Carolyn, in order to give somebody a copy of important papers, you have to trust them. Because what if my will is in there and we want everybody to have a will?
Yes,
That's right.
You can't trust that with everybody.
No, but you have this person. You've already decided who this person is. You've discussed what's in your will, and you do give them a copy of it. Because as he just stated, then sometimes you forget, but the very reason for that is when something happens to you, they're able to immediately go and take care of business that you've asked them to do.
You know, it's interesting. We say, let everybody know where your important papers are. Well, I found the important papers, Queen, but they're not important. We don't have an insurance policy in here.
Right.
We've done looked in the attic, you know, took me through all this. I found them, and there is no pre-need here. There is no will here. So if they're going to be important papers, let's make them important. How important is it that you have a pre-need a part of those important papers?
Very important, Mr. Beckwith, simply because if you have a pre-need, your family doesn't have to worry about coming out and actually making arrangements. Emotionally, it's going to take a lot of stress off of them. Not only that, though, it's going to be a financial burden lifted off of them, too.
So I'm looking through the important papers, Carolyn, and I don't find a pre-need. Now I have to go through all these important papers and go make funeral arrangements and try to figure out what your wishes are.
We again ask you to call Golden Gate Funeral Home. We will be more than happy to walk with you step by step. I don't have a pre-need. I don't know the name of the insurance company. There are some relationships we have with pre-need and insurance companies, so we can start the ball rolling for you. So when you come into the funeral home, we can help make those arrangements with you.
So, King, now that we got everybody talking about these important papers, and I hope everybody that's watching us is going to their family members and saying, where are those important papers and what's in those important papers? If a pre-need is not in there, what type of pre-need can they purchase?
A fully insured pre-need.
A fully insured pre-need. Why would anybody need a fully insured pre-need?
Well, that pre-need, the way that's designed is if you pay on at least for 2 years, and if death was to occur, that pre-need would pay for the funeral. No money would be due.
So even if I have a 10-year payout, but I've been in it for at least 2 years, it will pay for itself. So financially, we don't have to worry about anything.
It makes sense financially.
So if you don't have that pre-need, get you a fully insured
pre-need. And the best thing about it is so affordable.
It is affordable.
Where you can pay for it in 3 years, 5 years, 8 years, or 10 years.
Because if a funeral come up, you're going to have to pay that within 48 hours.
That's right.
That's
Not
right.
3, 5, 8, 10
Or
years.
10.
That is due immediately. So financially, it just makes sense.
Yes.
Now, I like fully insured pre-need, but I have plenty of insurance. I have plenty of money. I don't want to pay for something else. What do we say to that person about getting a pre-need?
Get a free pre-need.
Okay.
And what a free pre-need, Mr. Beckwith, is when the family comes in and just writes down everything and tells exactly the casket that they want, the clothing that they want to wear. It actually tells the family everything. The preacher that they want to do the eulogy.
All of that is written down for the family.
So emotionally, the family won't have to wonder what they wanted. Their wishes are known.
And it won't cost one dime to do that.
That's correct.
So everybody should have a pre-need, Carolyn, in their important papers. Even if it's fully insured or even if it's free, come to Golden Gate Funeral Home, call the King and Queen, and get a pre-need a part of your important papers. What if I'm already sick, Pastor, and nobody's going to let me have a pre-need? Nobody's going to let me get a fully insured pre-need if I'm sick. Is that right?
Well, you get a graded pre-need.
I can get a pre-need even if I am sick. Okay.
And what I like about that, it'll cover you even though you're going through some kind of illness. And that helped me a whole lot because personally, I didn't think I could get one.
A lot of people think they can't get insured
because
or they can't get a pre-need because they're already sick.
Yeah.
And you're saying that is not.
That's not true. So everyone can have a pre-need.
Everybody should have a
pre-need,
a part of their important papers.
Yes.
We give 3 reasons why everybody should have a pre-need. Let's go over one of them.
Financially, it just makes sense.
And that's what the King said. What's another reason, Queen?
I just mentioned it earlier, emotional.
Emotionally. You don't want your families to have to go through all these emotions on making decisions.
On the worst day of their lives.
Financially, emotional.
And you get to make your own decisions, what you want, not
my
versus
wishes are
your
done.
wishes.
You said what I want,
What you want.
is in writing, and it is a part of
the contract.
The important papers, Carol.
Yes.
Everybody should have a pre-need. Now, what about insurance, Carol? Should everybody have insurance as part of important papers?
Most definitely, because the pre-need pays for your funeral. It takes care of everything for you. But insurance takes care of your family. And you want to make sure that they're taken care of in the same style that they are now. You take care of them now, take care of them when you pass away. And that's why you get insurance.
And, you know, quite often, Queen, people have insurance, especially on their job. But normally I don't have to use my insurance until I'm no longer working. Either I have retired from that job or I've become disabled. I'm no longer on that job. Might have got laid off. There's a lot of things going on. Do I get to keep that insurance I had on my job if any of those things happen?
Well, it just depends on the type of insurance you had on your job.
Okay.
And that's why it's so very, very important to go to the HR department of your job and find these things out ahead of time before you actually need them.
Before you need them. So while I have the job, King of Pre-Need, that's the time to go talk to the HR department.
That's right.
And Carol, when I'm getting ready to leave that job for whatever reason, can I take that insurance with me?
That's your question to that HR department.
Okay.
And they will tell you, and you want to ask them, can I convert this from this group policy I now have with my job to a personal insurance policy now that I no longer will be working here? Because this is great insurance. I have the amount of money I need for my family, and I would like to keep it.
What department do I go to on my job to say, hey, I want to keep my insurance?
Your HR department.
So go to Human Resources Department, the HR department, and say, listen, I don't want to keep my insurance.
Right.
Carol, why would I want to keep my insurance with a job I'm no longer with? Why wouldn't I just go get some more insurance or some new insurance?
Well, one of the benefits would be, John, the cost, because that company, depending on the size of that company, they got a group rate, and their rate was a lot less than it would be for an individual. So you want to keep that $50 a month policy as opposed to perhaps now having to pay $200 a month for it.
And this is important, Queen. I have to re-qualify every time I take out a new insurance. So if I've been on my job 10 years, 5 years, or whatever the case may be, I'm already qualified with that insurance company.
That's right.
If I take out a new insurance, they may make me take a physical.
They might. And a lot of times you're past the insurable 2 years, the contestability. You go out on the new one, you got to be in that for at least 2 years.
Isn't that something? The contestability starts all back over.
Yeah.
If I can pass.
Well,
If I can pass.
If you,
They may even turn me down.
That's right.
Because if
Might
I
not
don't take the
qualify.
insurance I already have,
Right.
I may be in a situation where my important papers don't include insurance.
That's right.
Because I'm no longer on my job, I no longer have insurance.
That's right. And the best thing about that, too, is a lot of those plans that you have on your job are group rates.
Okay.
And they're actually, the price is actually a little cheaper.
A lot cheaper.
A lot cheaper than you would pay for it normally from just buying it from an agent.
And then we think about our age difference now.
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
My age when I first started
Right.
to where I am now.
Now.
And age makes a difference in price, doesn't it, Queen?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So an insurance policy I have, I want to keep it if they allow me to do it. Now, Carol, this is important. I know you CFO, you deal with money. We are so used to having this money taken out of our check and the company paying it for us. Carol,
Right.
if we don't pay that monthly amount after we have gotten it from our employer, what would happen to that policy?
That policy is going to lapse.
Okay.
Because you now are responsible. And what we tell you, too, is to go ahead and have it taken out of your paycheck or your bank account now.
Because I no longer have a paycheck. So now I maybe convert it and have it come directly out of my
Bank account.
because
Right.
that's important.
Yes.
Because later on we're going to find out that's actually a record of something that's being paid.
Exactly.
And now if I'm not used to writing a check every month, Pastor, I need it to come directly out of my bank account.
Yes.
Because, you know, sometimes I might check the mail, sometimes I might not. I might lay the mail on top of the dresser. I might lay the mail somewhere and forget it was there. And if I miss that payment,
Right.
that thing is going to lapse.
Yes, sir.
And Carol, now all of a sudden, it's no longer a part of the important papers.
I have no insurance.
And it happens way too often.
Yes,
we see where those policies actually lapse. As a pre-need agent, as an insurance agent, do you recommend to everybody to have it taken directly out of their bank accounts?
I do, Mr. Beckwith. And again, it's important too for more than one reason. You may forget to pay it, but it's also record keeping. In case something happens, you have a record, or your family has a record of who you were paying, what
Very
insurance
important.
company.
Yes, and by you having that record, a lot of times when you mail payments off, sometimes they get lost in the mail.
And we don't want that to happen.
You got a record when you write that check.
That's right.
Isn't that something, y'all? And the last thing we want to happen is someone pass away.
That's right.
They find the important papers, but the insurance is not any good.
Yes.
So one of the things we deal with quite often is accidental insurance, Carolyn. We have families come in, a person has been sick, they pass away, they hand us a policy, we call the insurance company, we verify it and find out that it's accidental insurance. Tell us a little bit about accidental insurance.
What has to happen, John, is on your death certificate, the manner of death has to read accidental in order for your accidental death benefit policy to pay.
And that is very important to know.
Yes.
It's very inexpensive, Queen.
It is.
To get an accident policy. And a lot of times we'll see the things on television, $1 a month, you know, $15 a year, and you can get this insurance policy. And it is insurance policy, but sometimes it is accidental. Yeah. Carolyn's saying, listen, if you didn't pass away from an accident this policy is not going to pay for a funeral.
That's right.
So is there a benefit in having an accidental policy?
I think so, Mr. Beckwith.
Okay.
I think it's a good thing to have an accidental policy, because you may possibly die of an accident.
Okay.
But
now, what should I add to my accidental policy?
Well, they got dismemberment.
Okay.
There, where they also have loss of limb, loss of eyesight.
And that's not a bad thing.
Right, and you don't have to die in order to get it.
Because sometimes that happens in an accident.
Yes.
And that comes in handy. Any money you can get that would help you, especially at a time like that.
Yes.
So we're not telling anybody not to keep their accident policy.
That's right.
But they got to add a little something to that, Carolyn. What is it?
They have to add a life insurance policy as well as that accident, because, John, the percentage is very low that you will pass away from an accident. It happens, but not as often as an illness or just natural causes. You just grew old and you just passed away. So you need both. If you want that $1 a month insurance, accidental death insurance, that's great because it's very affordable, but also have a life policy as well.
What's a type of life insurance that's not accident? What's one of the types, best?
Graded life.
Graded life. Now help us with graded. What is graded life?
Graded life is if you're sick, you can still be in.
Even if I'm sick, I don't have to settle for just an accidental policy. I can get a graded life, which is a whole life type of policy. So we have whole life. Now, explain whole life to us.
Whole life, the premium remains the same, and you build up cash value after so many years.
So if I have an accidental policy, I need to add a whole life policy to it.
Yes.
What's another type of policy I can add?
term life.
Term life. Is term life a good type of policy?
It is, because it's for a period of time. For instance, if you had a young child and they were young and you died prematurely, they need somebody to take care of them, so you want to have it, and it's a lot less than a whole life.
So in our important papers, we want some insurance policy.
Yes, we do.
Even if you have an accident, please add a whole life, term life, or some type of graded, some type of life insurance,
policy too.
as well as the accidental. Carol, we have this happen quite often at the funeral home. People will come in and say, listen, Mama told me I had insurance. She told me, and I know Mom has never lied to me when it came to business. We can't find it. What do I do, Carol?
You've called the right number, because we can help you with that. Again, as stated earlier, we have relationships with insurance companies. So we're able to call them and give them the information they need to perhaps locate Mom's policy.
So come to Golden Gate. Allow us to call and see if Mama had a pre.
Yes.
Because she told you she had a pre-need with Golden Gate. Let us check to see if she really had.
Exactly.
Don't panic just because you didn't find something. Come to us and allow. Now, insurance, this happens way too often. People say, I don't have an insurance policy and I don't have an insurance number. How can we help those people?
We can help them, Mr. Beckwith, because they have what they call a MIB, a Medical Information Bureau.
Okay.
They can actually go through that company for $75, and they will help them find the insurance policy.
And I've been in business many years, and many people, and I've heard it said so many times, King, if you don't have a policy or a policy number, we can't help you.
Yeah.
But that's no longer the case. She called it the MIB, Medical Information Bureau. can help you for $75 to help locate policies. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. And we can also check if you wrote a check.
Okay.
And it would have the name of the company on it.
So you're saying check the checking account. Check to see if they've been writing a check to an insurance company. Check to see if something automatically coming out of their account, Carolyn.
Exactly. And as well, John, check the mailbox because they were ill for a while. So those medical bills and as well as that insurance bill has maybe come to the house.
What else can I check?
We can check the old credit cards.
Check to see if she's been paying for something through a credit card.
Credit cards. Yes.
Check that bill to see if there's an insurance company on there. Let's help out the public today.
Yes, sir.
Should I call the old employer to see if something is still there?
Yes.
Yes, because they may have retired, they may have resigned, they may no longer been there, but there still may have been a policy. And you may still have had some money in that company as well. I retired from AT&T over 20 years ago, and there's still money there with that employer. So that's why we also have to tell our families who we were employed with. I retired from this company, this is the information. Call them and get those benefits.
That MIB just really amazed me. Medical Information Bureau. How long do they keep records?
12 years or more.
Sometime up to 12 years. That's a long time, Carolyn. Yes. And I am so glad that is it. So we don't have to panic anymore. We call Golden Gate Funeral Home. We all have some information that we can help you with. Information I need to know, Carolyn, what this show is all about today.
Sir.
Anything interesting happen on the internet?
Yes, I read an article about what to do if you can't afford a funeral.
Oh, now this happens quite often. What can I do?
A lot. What I seen was that it's stated that when a person passes and they don't have money to pay for a funeral, make sure you have a certain amount of money you want to spend, because a lot of times you can emotionally overspend.
So you're saying whatever amount of money I have is the budget I need to stay within.
You need to stay with that budget.
So Carolyn, it's okay to come to Golden Gate Funeral Home and say, listen, I got $5,000 and that's all I got. What can you do for me? Right. And we can work within that budget for you.
We will work within any budget, John. You come in and again, we start from our least expensive up until what the amount you want to pay.
And so whatever that amount is, thank you, King. Help us out, Queen. Anything you heard about on the internet?
I did. I read a interesting article, Mr. Beckwith, about a man that actually came to his own funeral and shocked everybody.
To his own funeral.
They started crying and fainting.
I can't imagine. They're having a funeral for him. And he walks in. How could something like that happen?
Well, he had an identical twin. You know, I guess
he
we
wasn't
all
aware.
say
It wasn't actually a kin to him, but somebody
that looked just like him.
Now, this didn't happen in the United States, did it?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
It happened overseas. And actually, his brother went to identify the body at the morgue, and he identified him as the brother. And they actually took the body to the mom's house, and the mother and the whole family and everybody, they had a wake at the house.
And he walks in. He finds out about it. He said, I might want to show up at that.
He actually came to the funeral.
Isn't that something? Carol, that won't happen at Golden Gate Funeral Home. Why not?
Because we have a procedure, John, where there's identification. Wherever we pick you up from, a hospital, medical examiner, they have information on you. And when you arrive, we put more information on you as well to match that. And then we take a photo. In
America, we're just a little more thorough when it comes to identification. We have dental records and many different things. Anything you heard about on the internet lately?
Well, this is considered Black History Month.
Black History Month.
And I thought the best person to talk about was Mr. John Beckwith Sr.
Isn't that something?
Who started the film business in Waxahachie, and then went on to let everybody know that the poor need to be buried also.
So in Black History Month, we hear many famous people. You're saying, listen, we have our own local hero.
That's right.
And you can be a living legend. You don't just have to be someone that has passed on. You think John Beckwith Sr. is one of those people?
Yes, sir. He's a living legend.
Thank God that he started Golden Gate Funeral Home back in 1980.
Amen.
Because that's the reason why Ask the Undertaker exists to this day. Carol, anything you read about?
Well, a little bit, kind of piggyback on Reverend Eton.
Okay.
It was about a family-owned business. And this business was in this town for 5 generations. And this man's father passed away. And he actually was in the industry himself, but had moved away. And he felt so comfortable with this family-owned funeral home that he did not have to go through a lot of rules, a lot of regulations, was actually able to talk to one of the owners and generational people of this funeral home.
So you think it's very important that you deal with a family-owned business. John Beckwith Sr. didn't sell out his business.
No.
He passed it on down to his son, to his daughter.
Yes, sir.
And Dad is still with us to this day. And you said that was very important to even another funeral director having to deal with a...
And it was a very recent article. This article was in last month's magazine. So it's not that it was just 32 years ago. Today, people still feel comfortable with family-owned funeral homes.
It just makes sense, doesn't it, y'all? It makes sense to have a pre-need in your important papers.
That's right.
Makes sense to have insurance in your important papers, and make sure that we have a will, Carol, in our important papers.
Most definitely.
Most definitely. And then when I find that insurance policy, who should be the beneficiary, King?
Someone you trust.
Someone I trust.
And someone over 18
Need to be
years of age.
over 18. Nobody that's a minor beneficiary. That's so important.
Absolutely.
Carol, how important is that we need to take out that insurance now?
You must take it out now because almost every policy has a 2-year contestability period.
And if you cannot take out that policy before 2 years, what's going to happen? What can we not do as a funeral home?
As a funeral home, we cannot take an assignment. It
We
cannot
can't
be
take
used to pay for your funeral.
So 2 years is very important. That's not saying it's not going to pay. It still may pay, right?
Yes, sir. It still may pay, but it won't pay for that service at that particular
We
time.
can't take an assignment
Can't
on it.
take an
Carolyn, if they
assignment.
tell you we're not going to pay, we're only going to give you back your premium, should you accept that?
No, you should take it to the very top. And
Okay.
even get an attorney, because there are some things that you don't know and that you can't do. But no, don't just accept that. If your family had an insurance policy, then they deserve the amount, face value of that policy.
We hear it all the time, Queen. They said the insurance policy goes into effect immediately as soon as you write it.
That's right.
Even though there's a 2-year contestability and we can't take an assignment, doesn't mean you're not due the amount of that policy.
You still might get it, but you just won't get it in time for the funeral service.
Okay. So you're saying I need to get an attorney? I need to do everything I can to make sure I get what's due to my family.
That's right.
Is that important, King?
That is very important.
Very important. If you need some help, that's what Golden Gate Funeral Home
That's why we're
is
here.
for.
We're
That's
here.
why
Yes.
Ask Undertaker even is this.
That's right.
All right. Watch us every Saturday night right here on Channel 47.2 at 7 o'clock p.m. and every Sunday morning at 5:30 a.m. on Channel 21. And y'all know my favorite.
The radio
radio show every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 o'clock a.m. on Heaven 97. That's 970 a.m. on your dial. And this is very important. You can actually call in and speak directly to King, Queen, CFO, Pastor, and we will answer any questions you may have. Yeah, I thought it was really amazing. I was watching television. YouTube has really blown up. Queen, I found out it's not just your favorite, but it's the favorite of America. You can put something on YouTube and it'll just go viral.
Yes.
It will.
Remember, watch YouTube and GoldenGateFuneralHome.com.
We are stepping up the level of our services. Our goal is to treat your loved ones with the respect they deserve. We are taking our services to new heights. We are stepping in a new direction. Step into the new millennium with Golden Gate Funeral, where service begins and never ends.